Great to see you. Okay. All right. Well, let's make a start, shall we? Okay, where were we? Where were we last week? Not last week. I was traveling last week, so wasn't able to make it. Yes, I know. Well, we're traveling. We've got a 2-month trip around Europe, and I'm kind of doing hashtag digital nomad, hashtag van life. So traveling or working, so it's a bit of an experiment because we've never been away for so long before, and working as I go round. As you can see, I'm still doing my stuff. Okay, so week before last, when I was on, we did chapter 6, and we were talking about choosing the relationship, not the person, and why that's important. So this week we're going to be looking at chapter 7, and this is really important. So chapter 7 is the fear of staying the same. Okay, so what made things slightly easier for Molly is that she had nothing to lose. Nothing in her life was working, so she was less afraid of letting go of what she had than she was of the empty space, which for what most people is the real no-go zone. So things can only change when the fear of staying the same outweighs the fear of change. That is a quote from Jay Shetty. Just saying. So Molly's fear of staying the same guided her actions to change. And in order for change to happen, we must be prepared to let go of what doesn't fit with the old pattern. We must be prepared to transform ourselves into the new and different version of ourselves. But in order to do that, we have to know ourselves better. Now that's because the better we know ourselves, the more we can be confident that what we're creating is resonating with the right energy for us. Now the fact is that our external reality, as we've already said before in the book, is a construct based on how we feel at any given time. This isn't a fixed reality. Even within us, it changes in the moment, and that could be moment to moment or day to day. Now others might see our reality completely differently from us, even though both people are in the same space at the same time. So, have you ever been in a situation where two people have completely different memories of the same situation or the same conversation? This can create famously huge disagreements. We'll term it that, shall we? Now this is because we each create our own reality based on the information. I'll read that again. Based on our own reality minute by minute, distorting, deleting, or generalizing information to make an event fit with our own view of what our own reality is. That's really important. We create a memory that reflects our emotional state and what we believe our reality was in the moment, and we will change the reality to fit with that. Now we may not think we do, but we do. Trust me, we all do. Everything we experience is filtered through that inner world, and that's where and how our reality is created. It's not out there at all. It's all in here. Our inner world determines how we feel about and respond to what's going on around us. Everything is filtered through that lens. And getting to know that internal world is really important. if we're going to magic up a different reality. It's in this inner space where we find all the stuff that's lighting up our energy transmissions. And it's here we can find where the resistance in the wire is coming from. Now, if you remember the resistance in the wire, we talked about this before, that's the stuff that is blocking us from getting what we actually want. So, the hidden truth about our belief systems, our secret fears, and our unconscious assumptions are all inside. Okay? And this inner world largely decides what path we walk through in our lives. So have you ever found yourself sleepwalking through decisions and justifying your actions to yourselves and others without really knowing what was driving you in the first place? This is because what's hidden inside has already made the decision for you before you're even consciously aware of even having made a decision. These unconscious decisions are what create our life experience. In a way, we're all seeing the world through our own unique stained glass window, the colours that filter the scene changing our perception of what's in front of us. There is, in fact, no such thing as a definitive reality. All that exists is the reality that we've created within ourselves, and as a result, in that process, we're also creating ourselves as someone who fits that situation. I hope that makes sense. Changing our reality, our relationships, and our experience of life will involve explorations within to find out what's actually running the show. We need to find out what's helping and what's hindering. Changing who we are will depend on how much we want that change and what we're willing to let go of in the process. Now, this is the journey in tarot of the Master Magician, learning how to change reality. Now, if you remember the Fool card that we discussed earlier on in the book, where we are presented with a call for a leap of faith, and in that card we're also shown a range of mountains in the background, and those mountains represent the challenges of the journey. Think of it as being an adventure. No self-respecting adventure is without challenges to overcome, eh? We have highs and we have lows. Sometimes we feel like we're on top of the world, and then sometimes we're in the lows of the valley. And that describes us. Our journey to the top of the mountain will mean a trip through the valley of the shadows. We must be able to support ourselves through difficulty and be able to confront parts of our own self that we're not happy about. Now, we try to keep that part locked away in the dark recesses of ourselves so no one can see it. That's why our inner self is often referred to as our shadow self. Now, if we're going to make a change, to change our reality, to change our relationship experience, to create something different for ourselves, we must do these two things. Firstly, we must get to know ourselves. This is difficult. We find it hard to acknowledge our shadow and see beyond our personal stained glass window. And then we must get to know who we want to become. If we don't know where we're heading, it's hard to plot a route. And we end up meandering down the same paths that we've always walked before. But don't worry, because you have a guide through this difficult journey. You have me and this book. So we're on a journey together to see who you might become and what you might be able to create. So here's a couple of little fun exercises I do with clients that you might want to have a go of here. Now, these shine a light on what's going on inside you. No one needs to see this except you, but it's fascinating and really useful. So I'm a big fan of lists. Lists help us organize and see things objectively. So here's what you need to do. Now, obviously, while we're on the live, that's going to be a bit tricky. So you can play the live back. You can pick it up on YouTube, or of course you can read it in the book. But please do try this. Now, I've done this myself, and it's actually really interesting. And what I was doing was I was doing this every couple of weeks or every month to see how things were changing. So it's a really good check-in. So here's how you do it. Set a timer for 30 seconds. And in that time, write with a pen and paper, please. Not a phone or a keyboard. I'm a big fan in going analog, because there's something about your hand to brain link that actually makes this work better. So you need to free flow this list. You need to do it really instinctively and not edit it at all. Write down as many things as you possibly can in 30 seconds. It doesn't matter what you write in the moment, doesn't matter how crazy it is, doesn't matter how positive or negative it is. Just write down as many as possible things in 30 seconds. And the list begins, I am. Now you might write, I am a mother. I am lonely. I am a good friend. I am lazy. I am disappointed. I am a teapot. And so on. So see what random stuff comes into your head and just write it down. And then at the end of the exercise, go down the list and put a tick beside any of the entries that are positive, and put question marks by the side of any that are not so positive. So first of all, notice the proportion of positive to negative statements. Is the list weighted in a particular direction, or is it balanced? Now, you might be surprised at some of the statements that pop out when we're not filtering, and some of them may contradict each other, and that's okay too. So this gives you a quick glance at your internal state at the moment. Any statements that refer to a feeling, so for instance being lonely or disappointed, find an opposite state and write that down in front of the word. So lonely might become cherished, for example. Now, it may not be the exact opposite, but it needs to feel like the opposite to you, because it's your internal picture. So you don't have to do a thesaurus. You just have to come up with a word that feels like it's the antithesis of the word you've put down, of the feeling word you've put down. Okay? So if any statements are critical, and this is really important, I want you to write the word forgive next to them. Now, these are the things that you need to do some homework on. With each of the critical statements, they will have come from somewhere, probably with its roots in the opinion of another person, maybe a parent or a teacher or someone who decided that you needed to be directed in some way. Now, I want you, this is a little bit of homework, okay? So I want you to write a paragraph about that person and why you are continuing their work in your life now. And you must forgive them. And you must forgive yourself, because in some way you have become them. That judgment of yourself is the actual problem. And if you label yourself lazy, you bring that forward and create it as a reality. And then you watch for proof, and the job is done. So you can do another little exercise which might help with this. Close your eyes and picture the source of that critical statement in full flood. Stand your ground and say aloud, no, I'm not. Whatever the critical statement was. And again, change the word to something different. You can say, no, I'm not. I'm... whatever the opposite word is. So again, come up with something in the moment. Don't plan it, but make it real. So something that describes an alternative to that person's judgment. Now, it might be something like, no, I'm not lazy. I'm scared. Now, you're back with the real you. Scared, you can work with. Why are you scared? Ask more questions. Keep it working until you get to the root of the problem. Give yourself lots of compassion and allow it to be okay. Everything is okay. And by the way, on your original list, if you have I am a teapot or something else that's random, you can congratulate yourself for being free thinking and having fun and really getting into the swing of it. Or maybe you are a teapot, in which case I like you already. Now, I want you to do the same exercise maybe a week or maybe a month later and see if anything's changed. It takes a bit of practice, but it can provide some really useful insights into what's swimming around in your energy at the bottom of the pool. Now, words are tricky things. They are everything when we use them deliberately with energy and intent, but often we use them thoughtlessly, unaware of the actual energetic effect they're having. So what if you made a list of every single negative thing you said about yourself, your life, and your future over the course of a day? Why not try it just for a day? Carry around a notebook and create 2 lists, every negative and every positive thought that flits across your mind. Oh, that's a tough job, right? There's a lot of thoughts, but take a long, hard look at what you're habitually thinking, because that is what's setting the energetic value of what you're projecting in front of you, both as your reality here and now and way into the future. Now, if we're going to change your reality, we have to change the script. Now, the inventory method that we've just described is invaluable when it comes to getting really honest with where you are in things. And honesty with yourself is absolutely paramount. Now, here's another one. Here's another list for today. And there's a worksheet in the book. I'm going to talk you through this list. It's a bit of a long list, but, play it back. You don't have to write everyone down, otherwise you'll get writer's cramp. But you can play back the recording and then just tick them as we go. So what we have here is we have 42 statements. And these 42 statements will check in on your readiness for a healthy relationship. I love a checklist. I'm one of those people that does the quizzes, magazines. Well, not magazines because we don't have those anymore, but when we used to like Facebook quizzes and things, I kind of like them. Anyway, so quick quiz for you now. So let's go through them. So starting from number 1. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. Right, so I want you to answer either 1 for some of the time, 2 for most of the time, 0 hardly ever. Okay, so when you answer the question, you put 1 for some of the time, 2 for most of the time, and 0 for hardly ever. And be really honest with yourself about this. So let's go. I know I am lovable right here, right now. I do my best to be honest with myself and others. I have integrity. I can take responsibility. I understand my own needs and feelings. I'm able to share my feelings in a healthy and honest way. I'm self-reliant. I can say no when necessary. I can handle criticism without attacking back or getting defensive. I can handle adversity without falling apart. I'm not afraid of being single. I have dealt with my pain around my dysfunctional childhood. I do not feel lonely. I can self-congratulate. I enjoy my life. My intimate relationships do not completely dominate my life. I'm kind to others. I can accept kindness from others. I enjoy some form of creativity. I am not inferior to anyone. I feel like I'm making progress in my life. I'm surrounded by healthy people. I am loved and valued by so many people. I may not like rejection, but I can deal with it. My past no longer makes me angry. I am not reliving the mistakes I have made in the past. I'm able to leave a toxic relationship. I can commit emotionally to a healthy relationship. I do not crumble when relationships end. I can manage my stress. I can be focused on a goal without being addicted to the outcome. I can self-regulate. I can compromise when it's reasonable to do so. And I can enjoy a healthy sexual relationship. So, when you score yourself on this, we're going to go, if you've scored 0 to 21, you're not quite there yet. Definitely some room for improvement. 22 to 42, not bad. Keep going. A few tweaks still needed. And 43 to 53, pretty good. Still might want to fine tune just a little bit. 54 to 68, great stuff. You are ready to rock. So again, check in on the areas that need work. Get into the habit of being really honest with yourself and enjoy any progress you see yourself making. So these checklists, again, just check in with them once a month. Okay, so next week we're going to be doing chapter 8, and we're going to be looking at creating with words and pictures, and we're going to be getting into how we create the picture and the picture ahead of us, the movie of that new relationship. That's how we make it work, because it's if we do all the spade work underneath to get rid of all the stuff that's getting in the way of our signal, but we've also got to know how to create that picture that we're going to walk into, and that's what we're going to start looking at next week. It's the fun part. So have a go with those lists. See what you think. They're worth it. Okay, so I'm going to do some cards now. So if you have a question you want to ask me, just chuck it up in the chat and I will do my best to answer. In the meantime, I'm going to draw an advice card thinking about what we've been talking about this evening. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, that's nice. So we've got the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands is the card of expansion. Now, Wands energy, as we know, is fire energy, and it's the creative energy. It's the energy with which we create our lives. It's action, it's bravery, it's passion. And what this lady is doing is she's looking out and she's looking beyond her current horizon. So she's expanding her vision from where she is now. And what this tells you is it's looking at what's in front of you, and it's looking at the opportunities that there might be. So that what we normally do is we normally tend to be quite small in our vision of what's possible. And the Three of Wands is asking us to think bigger. It's asking us to look further than where we are right now. So expand your vision, think bigger, play bigger, and understand that there's more out there energetically than perhaps you're engaging with at the moment. Three of Pentacles is a really positive card. It's a card of new growth, optimism, and you know, new horizons. We can look at it like that. That's great. Okay, let's take another card. Oh, yep, that'll do. Whoa. The Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is an icky old card, isn't it? It's the card of baggage from the past. Now, if we look at the imagery on this card, we can see that swords in tarot represent the way we are thinking. Okay? They're telling us how we deal with challenge. They're telling us how we apply logic to a situation. They're telling us that the way we're using our minds is having an effect on our situation. And here on the Five of Swords, we can see what looks like the aftermath of battle, or the aftermath of a war, or a fight of some sort. So fives in tarot always describe conflict of some sort. We are either in conflict or we are conflicted. Now, in here we can see these poppies. And poppies, when we think of them in terms of a war, they are a reminder of something that we think we mustn't forget in case it happens again, lest we forget, right? So we must always keep half an eye on what happened before, because it might happen again. Now, the trouble is that when we're doing this in relationships, when we're living in this energy, lest we forget, we're carrying the aftermath of previous hurts, of grievance, of negativity, of maybe bitterness. We're carrying it with us on our journey. It's called baggage. Yeah? If you've ever been in a relationship with somebody who said they're scared to commit because they got hurt before, congratulations, we're slap bang in the middle of the Five of Swords. It's where there ain't no fixing the past. You can't fix it. You can't do anything about it. It happened. It's done. It was horrible, and you have to move on. But the trouble is the poppies keep pulling you back. They keep telling you you mustn't forget. And that's a problem. It really is. It's not saying you forget, but what you don't do is you don't carry the energy with you. The past does not necessarily have to mean that the future will be the same. We must learn from the past and then let it go. We must learn from the past in order to make sure it doesn't happen again. What we don't want to do is carry the negativity with us, because if we do, we're going to be breeding more of the same in the future. That's really, really important. Not carrying baggage into the future is absolutely fundamental if we are going to create a positive relationship moving forward. Oh, my goodness, such a lot of alerts going on. So that's great. So if anyone has a question, jump in. In the meantime, I will, hello Lady Lisa, let me give you a wave. And there you go, Ma. I didn't wave to you. Wave, wave, wave now. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I'm going to take another card. One more card, and let's see what we've got. Yes, good. It's a great follow-on card. Another swords card. So, swords are, as we've just said, how we use our minds. Now, this is a fun card. So this is the Two of Swords. And here we can see a skeleton playing chess. What's the significance of a skeleton playing chess? Well, he hasn't made the next move. He hasn't committed to a move. And what this tells you is that you're so busy waiting for either somebody else to do something or for things to change or whatever. You are not making a decision. You are sitting on the fence. And the trouble is that if we go back to this card, which is lest we forget, if we carry this baggage with us, it means that we're unable to move forward. We're unable to make the decision to make the next move. Now that's the next move in our lives. It's committing to a strategy. It's committing to a way forward. And as we can see, this poor chap here, he's spent so long not making a move that he's kind of, he sort of died at the table. And what that tells you is there's no life here. There's no growth here, right? So we just end up becoming a shadow of ourselves, and we don't grow and we don't thrive. And our first card is all about growth and thriving and making a strategy about finding where the opportunities are and moving forward and thinking beyond our own horizons. And this is quite the opposite. This is sitting on the fence, not being able to move forward. And why can we not move forward? Because we think we might get hurt in some way. The Two of Swords is always a stalemate caused by the fact that you feel whatever you do is probably not going to work out. And you think that because of past experiences in some way. So those are all things that have to be looked at if we're going to walk forward and make something better happen. Okay, I hope that helped, and I will be back here at 7 o'clock next Wednesday, and we're going to be doing the next chapter where I'm going to help you start to create the new picture, start to create that new reality that you so desperately want. How do you go about creating it in a way that works? Okay, so please do dig in and do this previous work, because the trouble is, that creating a new reality is fine. But again, if we go back to the previous chapters, if you've got resistance in the wire, that's going to always show up under the water and color this new relationship or whatever. There will be something that shows up in this new relationship which has echoes of what you haven't fixed. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed. I'm really enjoying this experience of reading the book and then drawing some cards. So I hope you'll join me again next week. And for now, I will say have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will go and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.